With me now to discuss is Texas Congressman and co-chair of the House Border Security Caucus, Representative Brian Babin. Welcome back, Congressman.
Thank you, Kara. It's just the hypocrisy of the left knows no end.
Oh, yeah.
Jen Psaki, it is unbelievable that they can, with a straight face, can stand there and talk about the difference between something that was a human rights violation. Now all of a sudden it's okay. It is unbelievable, and I think the American people, thank goodness for networks or for cable companies like you, they can get this word out to the American people. It's atrocious, absolutely atrocious.
Thank you, Congressman. And to your point, as we see more of these centers reopening, does that mean that the Biden administration is preparing for another immigration crisis or immigration surge at the border now that illegal border crossings are once again on the rise?
Absolutely. It's a crisis of their own making. We've been through 4 years of no congressional help, and President Trump and his great DHS have really solved a lot of the problems down there with no congressional help whatsoever. In fact, I think we probably had as secure a border at the end of President Trump's administration as we've seen in many, many years. And now all of a sudden that's all disappeared because of the campaign promises. And these people that live in the Northern Triangle in Mexico and all over the world, I mean, every country in the world sends people over here to the United States. Such a terrible country, according to the Democrats, and yet so many millions of people want to get in. And this crisis that's brewing has been created without question by the Biden administration, and what he's shot his mouth off saying he's going to open it up, getting rid of we're reinstating catch and release, going to legitimize the illegal crossings, release people who are in detention, talking about the cages that were for children, and all of a sudden they're detention facilities. It's just so hypocritical.
It is extremely hypocritical, and as we look at your state of Texas, it's right there on the border, ground zero in many ways for this immigration surge that we're beginning to see the beginnings of. How is your state preparing?
Well, our governor and our legislature are talking. In fact, our lieutenant governor as well we're in conversations about what we can do to try to prevent this overwhelming horde of people. The caravans are already on the way. We know that. Quite frankly, we're hoping that we can challenge this. We certainly don't want to take the law into our own hands. Well, we've got to follow the law. But you know what? The federal government has to follow the law as well. And they have not followed the law. They have violated the law repeatedly, all to their own advantage. We know exactly what this is all about. It's to open up the borders, let as many folks in as possible, get them dependent upon the government. They vote overwhelmingly Democrat. And this is why that the H.R. 1 last session, the Democrats offered H.R. 1 to allow illegal immigrants to vote in federal elections. They're already voting in California in state and local elections. And so they want to just have that. You're talking about the tipping point. They want to get this election to the tipping point where always the Democrats are going to be in the lead in these elections because they've opened up these borders. And you know what? The federal government's got a responsibility. And that responsibility is to keep our national security strong, keep the American people safe, keep us sovereign, and also keep us from going bankrupt by opening these borders up and being exposed to every kind of bad thing that would come along with people who are not being vetted coming across the border. And that is public health, COVID, as you mentioned, tuberculosis, criminal activities, terrorist activity, human trafficking, drugs coming across the border, all going to come in again. It's going to be empowering the drug cartels. That's what President Biden is doing when he makes these promises and creates these types of situations, endangering the American people.
And we've seen Biden and the rest of the Democrat Party basically saying that they are willing to give amnesty to, they say 11 million illegal aliens, but they've been saying that same number, 11 million, for a decade or two at this point. So we know it's perhaps well over 20 million illegal aliens. As you're saying, it solidifies their voting base because, again, they want to give amnesty, get these people hooked on the government, so therefore they keep voting blue, or at least their children vote blue. So that is, in many ways, that's what they're trying to do there and secure a one-party rule in D.C. more so than it already is. But when we look at it, we know there's also some Democrat congressmen who live in these border areas, have constituents in these border areas. Are there any any of your colleagues who are Democrats who may be willing to reach across the aisle with Republicans and break from the Democrat mold on this very serious issue?
We certainly hope so. I know that in past sessions, we have had a couple of Democrats down there that have sponsored some bills that would ameliorate some of the dastardly things that the radical wing of the Democratic Party have been wanting. And the reason they're doing that is because their constituents are so very concerned about the hordes of people that are coming across, the drug cartels, the horrible criminal activity, the things that are happening down there. And let me tell you, the American people, if they have got to be clued in to what is getting ready to happen. It's going to be a catastrophic situation on the border where we'll have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people over a period of time, millions. And as you said, the 10 to 12 million people that are on a path to citizenship, according to Joe Biden's plans, we know that's far above that, probably twice as many, maybe even more than that. And that's we've seen that come out of several universities, not exactly conservative universities, who have done research and estimated that there may be 20 million to 22 million illegal aliens in this country today. And so, again, our job as federal officials is to maintain the national security, the safety of the American people. Talk to some of these angel families who have lost loved ones to criminal activity by illegals. And we've already got an executive order ordering the release of over 14,000 detained illegal aliens. And we find out that 70% plus are criminals with criminal histories, pending charges, already having convictions. And obviously, this doesn't bother the Democratic Party when they want to release people like this. And they immediately go to sanctuary cities where they commit crimes. They're already criminals. And quite frankly, they're going to turn the United States of America into a sanctuary nation. And that is the biggest danger, I think, that this country can face today, with all of every single thing I mentioned a while ago, from terrorism, criminal activity, drugs, human trafficking, you name it. It's all of the above. And so I'm just asking the president, please realize what you and your party are doing when you open the borders up to the United States of America, and the danger you place us in on every level.
Congressman Babin, thank you so much for being one of the lone voices of sanity in D.C. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Kara. God bless.